chairmen and friends. Thank you for that introduction. Now, what I would like to bring to your notice is, as atherosclerosis anywhere, the disease is a progressive disease and can lead to occlusion of the artery and loss of renal unit. Now, if you looked at the incidence, depending on what is the population that you are studying, the incidence can vary from 0.1% to around 30 to 40% of people studied would be having some evidence of renal artery disease. Variable progression has been shown. Atherosclerotic renal is progressive, especially if the stenosis is greater than 60% to begin with. The risk of progression to occlusion is 16% in abnormal arteries yearly. RAS leads to loss of renal mass and renal function in some patients. Now, with significant RAS, more than 60%, 1 of the 4 ipsilateral kidneys demonstrate atrophy of more than 1 centimeter in length, where significant loss of renal size is uncommon without RAS. Now, if you look at RAS and kidney function, ESRD is uncommon in short term. About 27% of those with RAS develop CKD within 6 years. Now, if you looked at clinical events in patients who have got significant RAS, new onset coronary artery disease, peripheral vascular disease, congestive heart failure, strokes, death and CKD are all higher in those patients who have renal artery stenosis if you follow them long enough. This is a patient I had seen, a 46-year-old hypertensive woman for 3 years. In regular treatment, her creatinine was 1.2. Right kidney was normal, was a small left kidney, and there was some bruit. Angio was done, normal right, and the left kidney was anyway small. There was no renal artery stenosis here, so conservative treatment was done. Now, this is 2 years down the line. She received losartan outside and developed a renal failure. Creatinine went up to 5.2. Now, this is where the stenosis is in that right functioning kidney, and after an angioplasty, the creatinine came down to 1.2. She lived well for next 8 years with a creatinine of 1.4 and died of a CA breast later. Several of these studies, this Dutch renal artery stenosis intervention cooperative study, the DRASTIC, 106 endpoints high. There are problems with each of these studies to tell you whether they should be done or not. Now, if you looked at a meta-analysis Cochrane review, favors balloon angioplasty, no change in renal function, but studies not designed to answer this question. The more patent renal arteries and appear to have fewer major cardiovascular complications. Now, if you looked at randomized trials, there are several of these STAR, study Dutch cooperative group, the Astral, multicenter UK trial, NIDER, the Italian study, CORAL for atherosclerotic lesions. Now, each of these studies I have given all these set of slides, so I wouldn't go into the details of each, but all these studies turned out to be negative, and anybody who was doing renal artery stenosis interventions was probably doing too much is what was the thinking. Now, if you looked at the prevalence in trial, they had mild renal artery stenosis in 33% of patients. More than half the patients had unilateral disease. Not all stent patients received stents. High complication rates were there. Study was underpowered. Astral, 806 patients, 403 medical treatment, 403 stent assigned, 2 stent related deaths and 1 RA rupture. What were the flaws? Selection bias. Patients were excluded from the study if the physician thought that they would benefit from the intervention. Normal renal function at baseline. 25% had normal renal function at baseline, and significantly there was unilateral disease, so renal function was not a major problem. Several of these problems are there. So, in the NIDER study, elderly patients, more than 70% stenosis diagnosed by Doppler and confirmed by MRA, 52 patients, death, initiation on dialysis, and eGFR by 20% and hospitalization rate. A follow-up mean of 43 months in this trial. So, very small study. Doppler and MRA diagnosis of RAS was the inclusion. Medical therapy was not well defined. There were crossovers and no core lab education was there. CORAL, that's one randomized multi-center clinical trial of renal artery stenting in preventing cardiovascular and renal events. And the results of the study, you had 5,322 screened, not randomized to air 4,375 because patient refusal, physician's preference, anatomic exclusion, clinical exclusion, and other reasons. So 947 when randomized to 10 plus medical therapy 467, medical therapy only 480, excluded for scientific integrity on both sides 8, included in primary analysis 459 on the stent side and 472 on the other. If you looked at primary endpoint of clinical events, there was no difference between the stent and the medical therapy, and you looked at whether CV plus renal death, stroke, myocardial infarction, heart failure, progressive renal insufficiency, and renal replacement. There was really no difference between the two, and that led to a spate of comments whether this procedure should be abandoned for all patients all the time. The conclusion in this particular study was renal artery stenting did not confer a benefit to prevention of clinical events when added to comprehensive multifactorial medical therapy in people with atherosclerotic renal artery stenosis and hypertension and chronic kidney disease. Why did most of these studies fail to answer question? The degree of reduction of the luminal diameter was not uniform, the proof of hemodynamic relevance was lacking, and bias by including patients of insignificant RS twofolds. There is no benefit and there is more chances of complications. We published our 15-year experience in the ASDIN in 2012. We did angiograms of 470 patients, 1995 to 2010. 70% of these turned out to be renal artery stenosis. About 30% did not show renal artery stenosis. Renal artery stenosis of more than 70% was seen in 279, that is about 84. Non-atherosclerotic renal artery stenosis were only 36. Those were aortoarteritis. Atherosclerotic renal artery stenosis was in 243 patients. 23 of these did not receive any percutaneous intervention because 6 needed surgical therapy for correction of aorta and other vasculature. And in 17 patients, it was a very small kidney. So 220 patients underwent angioplasty. 119 were unilateral, that is half of them about. Single functioning kidney in 66 out of 220, and bilateral stenosis in 35 out of 220. Now these were the indicators for renal artery stenosis, hypertension less than 30 years, and evidence of an evidence of vascular disease in other arterial bloods, hypertension detected for the first time after 50 years, severe hypertension needing more than 3 drugs, unilateral small kidney, deterioration of GFR on use of ACEI and ARB, evidence of other arterial disease like peripheral vascular, cerebrovascular and cardiovascular, abdominal bruit, chronic kidney disease of undetermined etiology, flash pulmonary edemas, and if there were associated non-invasive tests like Doppler evaluation, CT and MR. Now, this is the demographics of our patients. The age was 57.6 plus minus 10. 155 to 65 was male to female. There, I have already. Now, if you looked at all these tables in patients who had initial GFR of less than 60 versus more than 60, the mean blood pressure significantly reduced in all. Number of antihypertensives significantly reduced in Serum creatinine, very little or no change. eGFR, very little or no change. And this is a follow-up duration of, a mean follow-up duration of 2 years. Now, if you looked at those single functioning kidney, again same thing was noted. The mean blood pressure did reduce. Antihypertensive need did reduce, at least initially. Serum creatinine, no change. One would have expected some deterioration, but not much deterioration. We had 56 patients who had contrast nephropathy, local hematoma and femoral artery aneurysm in 4. One had hypotension, one stent thrombosis. Restenosis in artery, now it is 4, it should be. Perinephric hematoma 1, angina 1 patient, nephrectomy due to arterial injury was needed in 1, and there were 2 procedure related deaths in these 15 years. Of the 56 contrast induced nephropathy, 30 improved and another 5 stabilized without needing dialysis. 9 deteriorated and 6 went on to hemodialysis. 6 were lost to follow-up. So this is the editorial comment that appeared in the same, which said that nevertheless this contribution may represent a shift in the care delivery paradigm and help to usher in a new era of consolidation of interventional operator and end organ specialist, comprehensive management of RAs by a nephrologist. This is the equipment I use. How do I get this started? Now recently we have, for the last 6 months, got a new GE system, and this is the syringe which I have handmade on the lathe, and so you will find much of this to be rather primitive. Only recently we have got a new GE system. So as usual, you take access with the right femoral commonly. So you use local anesthesia. Then I like to make a nick in the skin and always dilate it before. Keep my wires and things like that ready. It comes with the, like to do the anterior puncture one side. My preferred sheath is the 6F sheath. Make sure give some heparin if I am going to anticipate a plastic. So get the guide wire under fluorovision. Once I have got the guide wire, I generally like to do an aortogram if I have not done it beforehand. Now you can use a full manifold and a proper syringe. Now this was the syringe made by me, and the injector is also mine. We used it for 20 years. It cost me 7,000 rupees that time to make it. Recently, of course, I have got a very good, and that's the aortogram coming that side. Recently, I have got the most modern GE injectors and a GE lab. Cost me 1 crore of rupees, and the injector itself was 2.5 lakhs. This was 7,000. I used 20 years, and the aortogram doesn't look too bad. Then I do selective. My preferred catheter is a RDC curve, renal double curve as we call it, 5-way. This is the case of a 65-year-old lady who is hypertensive for the last 10 years, fair control on 2 drugs, started developing weakness, body ache, evaluated and was found to have renal insufficiency. Blood pressure was 140/90, creatinine 4.9, however the potassium was 2.9. In the antihypertensive there was no diuretic there. Bicarbonate was 24.7, uric acid 11, right kidney 6.2, left kidney 10.8, Doppler suggestive of 60% renal artery stenosis. So when I tried to do an angiogram selective on that side, you can see the right side had no blood flow to the kidney at all, and the left side there is about 80-85% stenosis on the left side. The same thing here. Now, I like to use that RDC guide catheter to get the wire across. Prefer a 1014 wire. You can see that the wire is nicely parked into the lower division. And if the stenosis was much tighter, what I would have done was to do a pre-dilatation here. If it is not too tight, meaning more than 95%, I often go naked with the stent. See, you can, this is a very easy way. So the stent is parked across there, and you can use the inflation device, and you can see the waste going away there. Once the waste goes away, you pull out the balloon catheter. That's how, again, to show the position of it. And when you come out, you do repeat, and you can see that the stenosis is nicely opened. What was the result? Symptomatically, the patient was better. Blood pressure stabilized to 126/84. This is at the end of 3 months after the thing. This lady is doing well for the last 6-7 years. The creatinine hovering between 1.7 and 1.8, single kidney. She needs 2 drugs, amlodipine atenolol combination. This patient had bilateral renal artery stenosis, multiple episodes of pulmonary edema. Cardiologist had done the cardiac angio and found epicardial arteries to be normal. I didn't get the second picture. Anyway, there was a post-plasty picture here which showed that bilateral plasties were done at the same sitting. After that, he didn't get any more pulmonary edemas. 3 years down the line, he had a massive stroke and died of it. In aortoarteritis, 36, intervention was done in 26, no intervention in 10. Bilateral 100% needed surgery, unilateral 100% again went for surgery. Now, if you looked at the surgical graft used was splenorenal was in 1, saphenous 1 vein in 1 bilateral, saphenous vein plus background graft for the aorta, and inferior mesenteric artery to the left renal artery now in 4 patients after this publication. Improved or stabilized only on medical, on PTRA, surgery. Usually, depending on the patients, I don't think these modalities should be taken as contradictory or competing with each other. You can decide on to using the best way you can. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the patient listening and the opportunity provided. My thanks to Avatar and Sanjeev D'Souza specifically. Thank you.